Welcome to episode 23 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order, leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Today we are discussing episodes of ANDOR and Rebels, which take place in the year 3 BBY. I'm Fatheree, this is Taylor. Say hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello, guys.
So we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. This is more talk about our two favorite Star Wars shows, ANDOR and Rebels. So we can go ahead and dive right on in, though. If you are watching a video format of our podcast, you should see on screen right now the spreadsheet where we track the episodes of Star Wars we've watched and what we're watching next. So last time we just did a stream last night where we talked about some Season 2 of Andor and Rebels, and now we have more of the same thing. We're actually going to finish off Rebels Season 2. We've watched the back half of it. But before we discuss Rebels Season 2, Episodes 11 through 22, we're going to talk about Star Wars Andor Season 2, Episodes 4 through 6. But Taylor, this project we've been doing of watching the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order, chronological, which has it's been revealing some interesting things, like watching all of Clone Wars before the Bad Batch, and then all of Bad Batch before going into Rebels. But this was the time of this project I was the most anticipating. I mean, obviously, I'm super excited to talk about the original trilogy in about a week. But we both love Andor so much. And it's like this new thing that, we watched Season 2 together when it came out last year. But we also both love Rebels, which is crazy to believe is like this 10-year-old show. It's like this show from a decade ago,
Right.
But it's something that you and I were both really into before we met each other, before we started watching Star Wars together. We were huge Rebels heads. I guess you didn't watch it when it originally aired, but when you did your big Star Wars watch during COVID pandemic era, like 2020, 2021, and we think we've figured out. I'm trying to figure out when Taylor has watched some of these, because when I talk about the stuff, I have such vivid memories. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember on July 14th in 2002 when I sat down to watch whatever.
We experience time very differently. His is very linear and and this year that I remember this happening, this also happened, and I'm like, what year, what month, what day I watched it? I don't know,
Papa Top again.
But yeah, for me, I don't really think about the time, I guess, and then I realized I contradict myself sometimes. I'm like, I watched that on Netflix, and then I thought about it. I was like, I never watched Clone Wars on Netflix. I don't know why I thought that.
Because I asked you a leading question, you probably watched this on Clone Wars for the first time, or you probably watched this Clone Wars on Netflix for the first time, right?
Yeah, and I thought about it, and I was like, no, it was on Disney Plus. So it was definitely after 2019.
Yeah, because Disney Plus didn't come out until November of 2019.
Yeah.
But then you were like, oh, I actually saw Ahsoka on The Mandalorian. I was like, well, that means you were watching in 2020.
So I think it was further back than I originally had thought. But see, all of that time is such a blur to me. COVID time, 2020 to 2022.
A lot of people say that.
I'm
it all kind of
every single day
bleeds together.
It just felt like the same, yeah.
I don't know. I think that we did get a lot of Star Wars in production during that, because the whole Hollywood industry tried to shift gears towards streaming. And we saw it in that was the bread and butter of TEX-TREK, was hey, there's a new Star Trek every week for 2 years, basically. There was a 2-year period when we had 100 episodes of Star Trek released. So yeah, that was a lot. But now everything is kind of slowing back down, and the people at Paramount are talking about like, oh, maybe we're gonna make Star Trek movies again. We're gonna switch back to movies, and we see Disney doing the same thing with the Mandalorian and Grogu's story is not being continued in a Mandalorian season 4. It's being continued in a motion picture released to theaters in a few weeks. So. But yeah, we can go ahead and talk about these 3 Andor episodes we're going to discuss first. I don't know what you're doing, Miss Taylor.
I'm trying to find the summaries for Andor Season 2 episodes so that I can read them to people.
You have to go to Wikipedia. You have to go to Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, for the summaries that we read.
Well, that was what you had pulled up, so.
Because you'd already clicked on the wrong website.
Well, sorry.
I was just following the path you led me down.
I don't do this part usually, but it's fine.
Yeah, we had a late start. We just went and saw the science fiction movie Project Hail Mary for the second time, but in IMAX this time on the biggest movie theater screen in the state of Texas of the Bob Bullock History Museum in Austin.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, so it's a great place to see movies with big spaceships.
Yeah, and lots of cool space picture, like I would say photographic, but they're like beautiful, like space scenes, I guess, like on that massive scale. It feels like space. Good
cosmic cinematography.
Yeah, exactly.
So, talking about Andor Season 2, I guess like a big part, like why I was really looking forward to watching Andor Season 2 and Rebels Season 2 at the same time is like, these are our 2 favorite shows, and I think both of them peak in Season 2. And just this Andor stuff, the episodes 4 through 6 of Season 2, this is the story arc that introduces the Ghorman front.
Yep.
And that stuff, it sets up some big things to happen later in Season 2. But Taylor, if you want to recap by reading the summaries for these episodes, starting with Season 2, Episode 4, Ever Been to Ghorman?
1 year after the incident on Mina Rao, Cassian and Bix have become active operators for Luthen and hide out on Coruscant. Bix is still beset by nightmares. On Ghorman, the Empire begins to construct an armory. Cyril, with Dedra and Partagaz's backing, takes up a position in Palmo, the Ghorman capital, and infiltrates the Ghorman Front, the local rebel group, by feigning sympathy to their cause. Upon learning from Young that Dedra is secretly supervising the ISB operations on the planet, Luthen sends Cassian to assess the rebels there. Willman is tasked with teaching Saw Gerrera's Lieutenant Pluti how to configure a machine that extracts rhydonium, a fuel source for the Empire starships that they plan to steal. Mothma unsuccessfully attempts to rally support to kill the renewal of a bill giving broad powers to the ISB.
And then we get Episode 5, I Have Friends Everywhere. Actually, the first time anyone says that phrase in the show, right? I have friends everywhere. So it becomes a big part of the show in the remaining 8 episodes. But tell us what happens in I Have Friends Everywhere.
Clea learns that Skolden intends to audit his antiquity collection, having discovered a...
Oh, sorry. That was my fault.
Stop touching
I tripped her up.
Clea learns that Skolden intends to audit his antiquity collection, having discovered a forgery, thus threatening to expose a bug she has planted in his gallery and forcing her to extract it during his upcoming investiture party. Cassian connects with the Ghorman rebels and learns that they plan to intercept a weapons shipment, but he judges them to be too inexperienced and shoots down the plan, much to their frustration. Cyril reports back to Coruscant with news of this heist, with Partagaz and Dedra agreeing to allow it to pan out to stir up the rebels. Saul kills Pluti after learning that he is a traitor, and has Willman work the extractor on the heist in his place.
And then we get Season 2, Episode 6, What a Festive Evening.
Cassian insists to Luthen that Ghorman's rebels are unprepared and is resentful that Luthen secretly made contact with Bix to persuade her to return to action. Luthen chastises him for his short-sighted vision and instead sends Vel and Cinta to help the rebels pull off the heist. Vel and Cinta fully reconcile and rekindle their romance. The heist is successful, but one of the fighters disobeys Vel's orders and brings a blaster, only to accidentally kill Cinta when a passerby interferes, devastating Vel. At Skolden's investiture party, Krennic and Mothma debate the ethics of war, while Clea manages to extract her bug using Young as a distraction. Bix breaks into Gorst's new office and uses his own torture device on him before leaving with Cassian, who remotely blows up the facility.
Yeah, so Gorst got. I actually wrote that in my notes at one point. I wrote, Gorst gets got.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some big things in Andor. So we'll kind of talk about all three of these episodes as one big arc. But I guess this is the first time where we get to they've mentioned Ghorman on the show before. It came up in season 1. They talked about the Ghorman propaganda that the Empire is going to start rolling out as part of Krennic's Project Stardust, we know as the Death Star construction. But here's the first time where we see the people and meet the people there. We've heard about there's like this resistance to the Empire, the Ghorman Front, and they're very much modeled after a few different influences, but I think a lot of it is like the French resistance during World War II. But yeah, they make this like space Europe. It's like generic space Europe. There's a lot of it looks kind of like Austrian with the big valleys and mountains, but also very there's a lot of like Venice influence, you pointed out.
And French.
Yeah. In the language, they hired French actors to play the Ghorman people, and they based the fictional language on French.
Yeah,
kind of like
you can hear it.
When Cassian was on Canary with the other Canary kids, they had like some fake language that was very like Spanish and Portuguese and some other stuff mixed in there. But like, why does this guy walk around with a Mexican accent?
Right.
So it explained that pretty well. But also, I think when you have like those kids, like the acting, when people are speaking of a fake language, like a good example I think is like season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, like the fake Klingon language, it came off kind of like very stilted and awkward. And in Andor with like the Canary kids or like these Ghorman people, it sounds like, this is like a foreign language I don't understand, but it sounds very like organic and natural.
Because it sounds like a language you could understand.
Yeah.
Which is what is a big difference. That's like whenever you can recognize that you have like really good linguists working on your shows or not. Like another one that's really cool is Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Like they created an entire Atlantic language for that, and they brought in a linguist, and you can actually learn to speak Atlantean and read Atlantean from that movie.
You call that there's a term for that, like conlag or like constructed language. Or some, but yeah, like a term for like these made up languages. I mean, all languages are made up by somebody, but but yeah, it's been a year since we saw Cassian rescue Bix and Wilman and the TIE Avenger. So in that time since then, Bix has been still struggling with her complicated Gorst PTSD. Not to mention the additional trauma she picked up this season. And Wilman he's making bombs for these terrorist groups now, so he's found a career path.
He wasn't making bombs. He was
Oh no, he was. You're right. He wasn't teaching them how to construct an explosive, because like he threw an explosive at the end of season 1, so you'd think of that as like a specialty, but no, he's actually trying to deal with explosive shit and keep it from exploding. He's helping them steal Rhydon. They're basically going to siphon some Rhydonium, which is hard to do without blowing yourself up. So he's there to it's the opposite of what you'd think is expertise. He's like I'm here to keep you from blowing shit up.
Exactly.
And Cassian's continued to be doing these missions, but on the Imperial side, Dedra she's forced to be working on this Ghorman project. I talk a lot about like in Andor, people are like trapped in these certain situations, but yeah, like if you're part of the ISB and you're like this career-driven operative because you want to go make the galaxy a secure, safe place and serve the Empire. And in order to thrive and succeed, you got to like play politics there, and then like some big shot who's got all like the big government funding for his top secret project, Krennic, hires you for a job that you didn't particularly want, but you still have to say yes and go do it and do a good job at it and get more and more successful, and then use that to boost your career, and then you can worry about your agenda.
Right.
So because she's trapped in that situation, she's basically helping orchestrate the takeover and destruction of these people's planet for resources, which is all. It feels incredibly realistic because we live in a country where a lot of wars are chosen over, right now, just resources, like oil is the big one. And we have, it's funny that, like, we live in some ways kind of a more, just, like, blatantly evil society than in Star Wars. At least, like, the Emperor doesn't go around saying, like, oh yeah, we actually just want the minerals in the planet so I can build my Death Star. But, like, in real life, we have a president of this country who's like, yeah, we're invading Venezuela for the oil, and like that's also like why is everyone so concerned about Iran right now and the Strait of Hormuz and the oil that's supposed to be coming through there? So it's funny, but yeah, like here's like a perfect example. We see someone basically trying to when they were doing like the big propaganda stuff in the earlier episodes, that's also like very much manufacturing consent, like the Noam Chomsky book. But like when the media will like start talking about like, I don't know, maybe Iraq is connected to 9/11. Maybe we should go invade Iraq. There was a big effort to promote certain wars and conflicts before they happen, and we see here a year into that process here on Ghorman. But Dedra has now brought Cyril into it. And he loves this. He gets to go be an undercover spy.
Yeah. He eats the shit. But the thing is that he's really kept in the dark about a lot of this.
Like, he doesn't know that he would never think like the Empire would build a planet-destroying weapon. That sounds like some crazy idea that these rebel terrorists would do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you're right. Like he's naive. Ultimately, Cyril's a useful idiot. He was a useful idiot for fascists. That's his life story.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is going on in these episodes. We have the Mon Mothma stuff. She's trying to get votes.
Yeah, this was pretty tame. Like, I mean, like a lot happens, but it's not a lot. It's so much setup. For like what's coming next, I thought it was cool being on Ghorman. I really liked Cassian being the undercover fashion designer.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see Cassian in that role, and play his part. But he does a good job.
So that's like what I think they wanted the show to be when Disney first. They're like, we're gonna make a Rogue One spinoff as a TV show, and it was gonna be like Cassian and K2SO going on like spy adventures, like when he's like getting like the info from the safe house or whatever. Like he has to go to like that lady who like gets him the flight to Ghorman, and then he gets like his
Right. It's like a whole undercover
here's your
operation.
cover story.
Yeah.
I feel like when they first were going to make this show, like that was every episode would be like an adventure.
They wanted like Star Wars Kingsman.
Yes, like Star Wars does spy-fi.
Yeah.
Is what they at one point they wanted.
I think it was enough just to have it in this episode though.
Yes, yeah. It's like I didn't need to see this 100 times.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I get the point. He's been doing this for a year. Cool.
But he is really good. I like the way that he interacts with the Ghormans, like when he's checking into the hotel and he makes like conversation with the bellhop that brings up his bags and like shows him his room and tells him about like the tragedy of Tarkin. Literally landing a starship on 500 Ghormans in the square.
The Tarkin massacre, right? Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
But so the cool thing about that is that was something I read about that in the 90s, and it's not canon now, but like there used to be like the Star Wars encyclopedia of just like all the books and the games and different stuff that used to exist before we had all the new stuff that Disney makes. I don't know if I read it there or so, but like there was. It was like this known thing as far back as the 90s that like Tarkin had landed a ship and killed a bunch of people on a planet called Ghorman at some point before the Death Star and all of that stuff. So this show, it tries to do all these these cool new creative things, but then it'll still pull some deep ass cuts from the like some of the people working on the show are like there's some old school hardcore Star Wars fans on the show too, as well as like the you know the edgier people trying to we're gonna make the most relevant Star Wars ever. So it's just cool to see the show can be so good at so many different things and just casually be great at so many different things at the same time. It's like I consider it like a privilege to watch the show sometimes.
Yeah.
But what were you saying about the Ghorman massacre, Tarkin parking a ship on top of people?
I mean, that's tragic. I'm glad that you had more to expand on that. But, no, I just really liked Cassian, like, meeting the Ghorman rebels, and, I don't remember her name, but, like, the daughter of the, rebel leader, I guess.
The Ghorman leader guy.
When she, like, meets him in the cafe and, like, she does this, like, off-script thing, and he's so mad at her. Like, he's like, dude, like, quit rushing this. And, like, and I like that he brings back to Luthen. Like, they're not ready. Like, they're rushing this.
Well, what he says is, like, they waited too long, and now they're rushing to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, that was so understandable. But, like, and, like, Luthen hears that, and he's like, well, I'm ready to jump the gun. Like, he is, like, kind of, like, with the Ghormans on it, because he needs the incitement, too.
Yeah, it's like Luthen doesn't even need them to win. He's just like, I just need them to be a problem for the Empire. And just, like, make the Empire expend resources and also, like, flex their evil and show everyone else, like, look what they're doing to Ghorman. They're going to do it to you next.
We've talked about Luthen being an accelerationist before. And that's definitely what he's looking for here, is he's looking for a high society, which is Ghorman, because they put out, they are a mass export of fashion.
They're kind of a rich planet. They're not like a super wealthy planet, but they're like a medium-sized player in the galaxy.
Right.
Like, people are going to notice. If something bad happens to Ghorman, it's going to make waves.
They're like the main supplier of textiles and a very quality I guess textile
It would be like if the United States was like, we're going to go like invade Greenland. Like, people would know. It's like you can get away with it with certain countries. You can go be a big bully to a lot of countries in the global south. But then you go up to, like, some European, not necessarily rich. I wouldn't say... Well, yeah, Denmark is pretty well off. Yeah, and Iceland's part of their... So it's like, yeah, like, people are going to notice when you start fucking with Denmark.
Right. So, it makes sense that Luthen would want to incite this, you know, because this is going to be a really big example. But, like, it's interesting that they already incorporate, like, how the Ghorman propaganda, like, in the media has already started to sway people at Coruscant against... the Ghormans.
Like, Edie, when you see, like, she's, like, so, like, Ghorman racist, because she just watches Imperial Slop.
Yeah.
There's, like, an old grandma who just watches, like, Fox and Friends every morning.
Right.
And then starts talking about, how terrible people, whatever the enemy country currently is. The Palestinians, the Chinese, the Iranians, whatever.
And we see how that's also swaying, like, some of the senators that Mon Mothma is talking to. Because they're like, well, I have to be on the side of the Emperor. Like, I have to, stay on his good side because I need this other thing from him. Like, they're playing politics so hard. And she's just trying to shut down the PORD. Still. And, it's been like 3 or 4 years now, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
dudes are supposed to be, like, freed from prison.
Yeah.
Their sentences got doubled.
Tripled. They're dying there. Like, yeah, they're just being transferred to other prisons forever. But, I like how, widespread the Ghorman stuff is integrated into the story. Like, even starting all the way up into season 1, like, they start planning Ghorman.
They mentioned the Ghorman front a couple times.
Yeah. So it's cool to see that kind of flower throughout the stories. There was something else I wanted to bring up. Oh, the Vel and Cinta stuff. Okay, so like, Cassian reports back, and he's like, yeah, hell no. Like, don't move forward with this. They're not
amateur
ready.
Hour. It's an amateur hour shit show, yeah.
And Luthen's like, well, maybe for you, but Vel will do whatever I say, especially if Cinta's involved. And Cinta will do whatever I say because she wants to go fuck shit up all the time. And this was an interesting I don't like that they rekindled their romance. That, like, because I'm so...
Just to pull the rug out from under them?
Yeah, it's not just that, though, but, like, Cinta and Vel, in my opinion, aren't a good match. Like, Vel needs a big softie.
A lot of people that aren't a good match will, like, break up and get back together, and break up and get back together, and they don't learn.
I don't know. I could see that this was probably gonna be a better run for them, but basically Cinta ends up telling her, like, oh, I got hurt and I was out for, like, a year, and, like, never told Vel that, and Vel's, like, hurt, and, like, Vel could have been with her during that recovery period and stuff, but Cinta's, like, whatever. I guess she grew up a little bit, but some of this, like, kind of felt like breadcrumbing to me whenever Cinta was like, oh, like, I should have done better, and, it could be different this time, and I don't know. I was just kind of like, eye roll. I was like, don't listen to her, Vel. Like, like, she's just going to do the same shit over and over again. Like, I don't know. I like them both individually, but as a couple, I'm not a big fan.
I guess I've never thought about this relationship too much, but just, it occurs to me now, I don't know, I guess they play into, like, the bury your gays trope. Like, there aren't that many queer characters in Star Wars. There's very few overtly gay characters in Star Wars, and so it's one of the I would say maybe the most overt one of all to be killed right after rekindling their romance.
Yeah, no, that was annoying.
So that's probably a pretty valid criticism to point that out. But I was sad to see Cinta die, and it is such a realistically stupid, pointless way to die. It wasn't like some like big, heroic, romanticized way to die in the struggle against evil empire. It was just like a couple of dipshits. One guy who shouldn't have brought a gun gets in a fight with this other guy who didn't really like have the context to know what was going on, and one thing leads to another, and then a shot's fired, and someone accidentally got shot. Yeah. Turned out it was one of the important rebels here to, like, help them, but...
Yeah.
It was fun to see Luthen's organization try to, like, tell them how terrible they are at their rebellion. But there's some big Ghorman stuff still to come.
Yeah. The last thing that I think I want to talk about is Clea... like, the suspense of removing the bug at Skolden's party.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes for what a festive evening. Big Clea action.
Yeah. I know we haven't really gotten to see a lot of her character yet, but her upcoming arc is so cool. And I'm glad that we start to see more and more of her in this season. I like her bossing around young a lot and having that she has a lot of confidence, and I'm the boss and you're going to listen to me. And I really love that for her. And I love her tenacity and just, like, she has a plan and she's going to execute it. And, like, I don't know, like, she's just ruthless.
It's a fun predicament to put them in. They have, like, the spying device that they gave to Skolden as a wedding gift, but he's such a prick, he's getting everything reappraised.
Well, that's because something he bought ended up being a fake.
Right.
And so he's like, well, shit. That, like, puts to question all of this other stuff. So he wants to audit his entire collection. And that makes sense to me. Because you're like, well, you don't want to be known... If you're, like, this person, Skolden, who wants to be known as, like, this bougie, aristocrat, antiquity collector, you don't want people to be, like, questioning your collection, So it makes sense to me, like, his thought process to have everything reevaluated.
But... it puts them in the situation where they have to go sneak into... Well, I guess it's during his big party that he has, but they have to go over there and sneakily remove the device.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the most suspenseful scenes in all of Star Wars. I've seen like people like make this joke in memes online. It's like this lady trying to secretly like turn a dial under the table of this art piece.
It's like stuck and her hand is bleeding and dripping.
One of the most like heart-pounding, edge of my seats, riveting sequences I've ever seen. Because like we don't know Clea. Like the first time you watch this, you have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, and then Krennic there being a prick and Mon Mothma having to like talk politics with this like this full-on fascist. That's funny, but also is familiar to a lot of current social situations, I think. But I guess one of the big things I really liked in this arc was the Saw Gerrera stuff. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Willman working with Saw and how Saw exposed that Imperial spy, the guy that Willman was training.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, like, Willman thought he was gonna, it was like a day trip, and then he was gonna be back at home. And they're like, no, you got to train this guy how to siphon the Rhino out of every possible position, because I can't tell you which place we're going to go rob the Rhino from. And then after he finally has the guy trained, then he tells him the wrong place so that he can shoot the guy, knowing that he misinforms the Empire.
Right.
And they go to the other place. But it's like that speech from Saw Gerrera to Willman as they're huffing gas and getting high on the fumes, basically. Yeah. But when he talks about how, he says, we are the Rhino. We're these volatile particles that it doesn't take a lot, but just like a little bit of friction rubbing us together, and we're ready to fucking explode, and we're gonna explode so hard, we're gonna start the chain reaction. And he's basically saying, like, we're gonna be the spark plugs that start the combustion in this engine of revolution. And it's something just throughout history when you look at like authoritarian states in general. I guess like the first people that are going to rise up are going to be the people that are already kind of on the radical fringe sides of things. But it's like, yeah, and then like they're the first ones that get wiped out. Like, like World War II was a big long process to remove Hitler from taking over Germany. But some of the first people who started resisting him on his rise to power were the German leftists, and there were a lot of German Marxists and anarchists and a lot of anti-fascists from Germany that, of course, they were the first people that the Nazis went after. So it's, but I mean, they're the first anti-Nazi resistance. So you could say like they're the ones who got like the ball rolling and got things started. I guess that's that's Saw Gerrera's role with Palpatine. And we saw that in Bad Batch. He was like the Onderon rebels. They started rebelling immediately. I say that one of the things that have been revealed in this chronological rewatch of Star Wars we're doing is I now will say that Rex and Ahsoka were the first two rebels. They're the first two people we see take up arms against the Empire. But Saw Gerrera is he gets on the bandwagon. He's on the bandwagon pretty quickly after that. So
they're like the first rebel cell.
Yeah, like literally, like Bad Batch begins with Tarkin being like, "Okay, well, let's go take out this guy on Onderon."
Right.
He's like immediately on the top of Tarkin's shit list. We saw the black X-Wings take flight, too. That was cool. The first time we saw X-Wings in action was Saw Gerrera. So that's interesting to me. But that's, I guess, everything I have on those notes. I'm glad that Gorst's program got shut down immediately. I guess that was kind of fun to see Partagas talking about, like, the military people and how, like, so he's, like, a CIA guy, and he's talking about how, like, yeah, like, these guys in the Army or these guys in the Air Force, they're fucking idiots. They're not like smart like our intelligence agency, but we have to go work with them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was another bit of Andor reminding me of our real life institutions.
Yeah, I loved Bix getting to kill her abuser.
Yeah.
She got to kill both of them, actually.
Yeah, and then Cassian got to blow up the building, so...
Yeah. Double extra awesome.
Oh, the Luthen and Cassian drama, too, where Cassian's... Luthen has Cassian so freaked out and paranoid now.
Yeah, he's wound up.
He's like, he doesn't do anything without a reason. If he came and talked to you, it had to mean something. Like, what is this guy doing? He controls my life now. I never know what's going on. And then Luthen throws it in his face. He's like, well, bring me in or kill me. That's what you said at the end of Season 1, fool. So
yeah.
But okay, let's move on to Rebels then. Talk about some less serious fare. I just want to point out the comment from Joel about Andor before we move on. Joel said, some of the planning about Ghorman is straight out of Conspiracy from 2001. a movie about laying the groundwork and propaganda for the Holocaust. I have not seen that one. Okay, that's is Mel Gibson in that? Or I might be thinking of a different movie, but I think I am. But anyways, okay, Conspiracy from 2001. I don't know that one either. But Taylor, let's talk about Rebels. I'm on camera tonight, actually, so the people who can see me, they can see my cool ghost toy that Taylor got me from the Micro Squadron line. But it also has like some cool sound effects, so people in the podcast audience can now go to hyperdrive. Okay, I'll put that thing down. But just wanted to show off my exciting, cool new ghost ship. Let's talk about the Ghost Crew, Taylor. Let's talk about Rebels Season 2, Episode 11. That's where we're beginning, right?
Yep.
Legacy.
Ezra has a vivid dream about his parents, which he is convinced is a vision which will lead him to discover their fate. Hera and Kanan reveal that they have secretly spent months investigating Imperial prisons and have heard about a recent prison break. As the Ghost prepares to return to Lothal to investigate Ezra's visions, the Imperial fleet arrives at Gorel based on the intelligence from the Seventh Sisters probe droid. Ezra and Kanan escape to Lothal in the Phantom while the Ghost remains behind to assist the escape of the Rebel fleet. On Lothal, Ezra follows a Lothcat, which appeared in his dream to prisoner X-10, one of the escapees who is the former governor of Lothal, Ryder Azadi. Azadi tells Ezra that his parents heard his broadcast and it had inspired them to organize the prison break in which he had escaped, but Ezra's parents were killed during the breakout. While saddened at his parents' death, Ezra takes solace in that they heard his message, and Kanan comforts him by telling him that his parents live on inside him.
So,
man, this episode made me cry because we kind of have like this Ezra. What's going on with Ezra's parents? Like, will he meet them again? Will he not meet him again? We kind of know a little bit. It's like. It's like a little bit of a teaser, like the whole time, and I think like it hurt me more knowing that his parents heard his little broadcast speech from the end of season 1, and that they were so close to possibly being reunited with Ezra. It's not like they had been dead since he was 6. You know, like, in my head, like, originally when I was seeing this for the first time, I was like, oh, they've been dead forever, you know? And it's like, no, like, they literally just heard him, like, have this talk and, like, organize this prison break.
If anything, he got them killed. He inspired them to rise up, and then they're killed.
Yeah, exactly. And and then it was so recent that it was just like they barely missed each other. I think that is incredibly tragic.
But it's kind of cool that they inspired him and then he inspired them. And as a result, this guy, Ryder Azadi, voiced by Clancy Brown, who we had previously heard in Star Wars as Savage Opress. And he'll come back and play another character in The Mandalorian eventually. I'm always so excited to see or hear Clancy Brown because I love him as the Kurgan in Highlander. Oh. I've now shown you that movie. But if Ezra hadn't given that speech on the transmission to inspire his parents, then they never would have done the uprising to get all the prisoners free, and then Ryder Azadi never would have come back to Lothal, and he wouldn't have been there to help them with... he actually has a big role to play in the next episode with Princess Leia, so... Mm-hmm. And then that's something that I talk about a lot with Rebels, but like over the course of the show, you see them interact with all these different people that they end up recruiting into the cause, and then they're able to liberate the planet in season 4. So I don't mind the early Lothal stuff. You know, I said at the time when season 1 first came out, I complained about they would spend so much time there on the same planet, but so much of the show ends up being about the Ezra's journey to liberate his home planet.
Right.
And how that's something that he could never have done if he stayed the loner that he is in the first episode. And that lesson he learns in the first episode about, like, you're better off if you have other people that you're going to help take care of them and they're going to help take care of you and you're all going to be better off for it. If he didn't learn that lesson over the course of the show, then his homeworld wouldn't get like that big victory at the end.
Yeah.
So, and this is a big cornerstone in that with Ryder coming back, the former governor of the planet. But what else? What do you think about Legacy? Anything other than I know you said like the parent stuff was really sad, but
I really liked Hera and Kanan working behind the scenes to try to find his parents, even without Ezra being sure if he wanted to know anything. I thought that was really sweet of them, because they refer to themselves as, like, mom and dad, and you definitely feel, like, that parental feeling of them. It's almost like having adopted parents who, like, look for your biological parents for you, you know?
Oh, the planet Goral, too, that the rebels had been hiding their ships on. Goral, however you say it. Well, like, they get attacked, so the time on that planet comes to an end. That was something previously the Inquisitors had learned the location, so back to Lothal. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about a princess on Lothal. We have Leia make her I guess we saw her as a baby in Revenge of the Sith. We saw her as a 10-year-old in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now we see her as a
princess.
Yeah.
Well,
she's like 16 too.
Yeah,
so.
I guess she was a princess in the last.
Yeah, I guess she was always a princess.
Yeah, but now she's like active.
She's part of the rebellion.
She's also, she referred to herself as an aide to her father, Senator Bail Organa.
She started her senatorial work. I guess she's like an aide to her father, and then eventually becomes senator herself.
Junior senator, right?
What happens in A Princess on Lothal?
While Ezra grapples with the news about his parents, the rebels make plans with Senator Bail Organa to secure 3 much-needed cruisers. Leading the mission is an agent handpicked by the senator, his daughter, Princess Leia. Leia meets up with Kanan and Ezra and plans to have them take her ships, giving the pretext that the rebels hijacked them so as not to reveal Alderaan's support. However, their plans are thwarted when Imperial security proves to be much stronger than expected. The trio link back up with the rest of the Ghost crew, rescuing Azadi from an Imperial patrol in the process. Leia then inspires the crew to come up with a plan to steal the cruisers, with Leia distracting the guards while the Phantom provides air support and Azadi disables the gravity locks on the cruisers. The plan is a success, with the rebels stealing all 3 cruisers and Leia further masking her involvement by blaming the Imperials for their failure to protect them. Inspired by the actions of Leia and the rebels, Azadi decides to join the cause. This is some fun Leia stuff. Like, it's fun.
They put a boot on her spaceship.
Yeah.
It's just like when the Empire impounds her ships.
Yeah. I think it's good. Like, so she does explain that this was her plan, that they were going to bring the ships and have the rebels, quote-unquote, steal them from her. That was, like, her idea. But I love how sassy she is and how quick on her feet she is. Like, that's so true to, like, who we see Leia being in the original series, or the original trilogy. But, whenever they boot all of her ships, and she basically says, like, well, I'm taking your shuttle to the lieutenant that, like, is impounding her ships.
Yeah, or how, like, undercover Kanan and Ezra, they're in stormtrooper gear, and she, like, starts ordering them around, like, you and you, load the shuttle.
Yeah, I love that she's a boss.
Or when Ryder sneaks onto the Ghost with her in front of the stormtroopers, and so she has to pretend to be, like, taken prisoner.
Right.
And she's like, stop, unhand me!
Yeah.
But it's actually her, like, going along with it. Yeah. Yeah, Leia's cool. I like seeing her as a kid in this. I know that someone wrote a book. I think Claudia Gray. It might have been someone else. The person who wrote the Ahsoka book. I don't know if it was the same writer. I know that, like, there's at least one novel around this time of her doing some rebel stuff that I really want to read, because I know, like, Saul Guerrero shows up in that, and it sounds really cool. I don't want to tell you because I don't want to spoil things. It might be a book that you like. I don't know. Maybe someday when we're bored of talking about Star Wars movies and TV shows, we'll talk about Star Wars books. We can do that too. So we both have read a few. But yeah, I like this episode. I don't really have much else to say other than the Hammerhead Corvettes that we get here. Those are based on a ship design from the Knights of the Old Republic games. It's kind of a throwback to that, but they're cool ships, and there's one has like a cool role in the movie Rogue One. So I guess that was like another big thing in season 2 of Rebels. I really enjoy the ship porn in this show. It's like so many cool classic Star Wars ship designs. I love the TIE fighters. I love the blockade runners. There's so many blockade runners in season 2. The ships look good.
Yeah.
The B-Wing, and there's a whole episode about the B-Wing. This was if you're a big fan of the Star Wars ships, this is the season for you. But we can move on to the Protector of Concord Dawn. Speaking of cool ships, there's some cool ships in that episode. But what happens then, Taylor?
With the Empire tightening its cordon... Cord on? I don't know. Cordon.
Concord Dawn. Concord.
I know, but this word right here. With the Empire tightening its cord on around Lothal, the rebels look for a new smuggling route. Hera and Sabine head out to the world of Concord Dawn to request safe passage from the Protectors, the Mandalorian faction that controls the world. However, the Protectors reveal that they have sided with the Empire and immediately attack. Hera and Sabine escape, but Hera is critically wounded. Kanan and Sabine return to Concord Dawn, with Kanan still wanting to negotiate with the Protectors and Sabine wanting to get revenge for Hera. They discover the Protectors' leader, Finn Rau, is being bribed by the Empire. Kanan meets with Rau, revealing that he had saved his life during the Clone Wars. Meanwhile, Sabine attempts to sabotage the Protectors' fighters, but is caught. She reveals the Protectors that she is from House Vizsla and challenges Rau to single combat. Working together, Kanan and Sabine capture Rau, and he agrees to allow the rebels safe passage through Concord Dawn. Yet another character that they pick up along the way, reluctantly.
Yeah, Finn Rau. He's like a Scottish Mandalorian who he doesn't want to cause too much trouble. He's like, look, me and the Empire have an arrangement. I don't let any of the people they don't like pass through here, and they don't really bother me, and they let me control my Mandalorian colony the way I see fit. But yeah, Kanan like really hopes to find a diplomatic solution to get this guy on their side, and when that fails, he's just like, well, we're gonna take you prisoner and hold you hostage and force you to do our bidding.
Yeah, he falls to Sabine's plan B, basically.
But this is, I guess, some cool Mando stuff. I like Finn Rau and his Mando dudes. They look like they're wearing Death Watch Mandalorian armor mixed with like a TIE fighter uniform. But they're all basically like pilots that have like sworn allegiance to the Empire. But they're in those cool Mando starfighters with like the spinny wings.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me to see just how different people react to the Empire. Like, we saw like Saul Guerrero as like, okay, immediate rebellion. And then Finn Rau is almost kind of like Cham Syndulla for a while. Cham Syndulla was like, I guess I can try to get along with this new government in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get like the people to stand down. Like he's trying to do like the Nelson Mandela thing after the end of apartheid in South Africa, when Nelson Mandela was like, we don't have to fight anymore. You can throw your weapons into the sea. Like Cham Syndulla wanted to do that. And I guess like Finn Rau kind of tried to do that too. But yeah, he ends up a little bit more proactively helping the rebels eventually. But Kanan has a lot of respect for him. He talks about how he was a big deal in the Clone Wars. He was at the Battle of Megiddo. I think in the Star Wars Kanan comic I've mentioned, you actually see Finn Rau do some piloting stuff in that. But Tux the cat also has thoughts on Finn Rau. I don't know if I have much else to say about him. I guess Sabine and Kanan both they react differently to like injured Hera. When Hera gets injured at the beginning during the starfighter battle and is like hospitalized the rest of the episode and isn't there to give orders, so you get like the infighting between Kanan and Sabine. And Sabine also mentions that her family, Clan Wren, is loyal to House Vizsla.
Right.
So that's like the Mandalorian hierarchy. You have the houses are like the more powerful families, and then like the clans are the smaller families that can be sworn to a particular house. Any other thoughts on the Protector of Concord Dawn before we move on to Legend of the Lasat?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, tell us what happens in Legends of the Lasat.
Following a tip from Hondo, the Ghost crew rescues a pair of Lasats from Imperial custody. Chava the Wise and Gron, who both recognize Zeb as a captain of the Lasan Honor Guard. Chava and Gron explain that they are searching for the mythical world of Lyrasan, where the surviving Lasats can find refuge. However, Zeb is reluctant to help due to his guilt over failing to protect Lasan from the Empire. With some encouragement from Ezra, Zeb transforms his bow rifle into its true form and combines it with Chava's staff, revealing Lyrasan's location in uncharted wild space. However, they find their way blocked by a dense cluster of black holes while Agent Kallus pursues them. Trusting in Chava's wisdom, Zeb uses the energy from his bow rifle to create a protective field around the Ghost, allowing it to navigate the black hole cluster safely. On the other side, they find the world of Lyrasan, which is the true home planet of the Lasat people. After dropping off Chava and Gron, Zeb decides to stay on the Ghost in order to find more Lasat survivors to guide back to Lyrasan. It is in this episode that the ancient names of the sides of the Force are first revealed by Chava, revealing the light side as the Ashla and the dark side as the Bogan, and repeated by the Bendu on Atalin in a later episode of Rebels.
Yeah, so didn't at one point wasn't like Ashla also what
Ahsoka's first name?
But wasn't that what they also called the daughter and like the daughter and the
Mortis
the father and
maybe I don't remember
the daughter, the father, and the brother. Yeah, the gods
the Holy
of Mortis.
Trinity.
But for some reason I associated Ashla with her, or is Ashla the name of like the bird that like
I don't remember it being a name for anyone. Except for
I'll go double check that.
Ahsoka's
that was the original name that Dave Filoni came up with.
Right, and it was also her cover name in
in Tales of the Jedi, in the Ahsoka novel.
In the arc with the sisters.
Oh,
the Martell sisters.
Yeah, the Martell sisters are, or Ahsoka's Walkabout is what everyone calls that.
Okay.
So on Clone Wars, there's like universal names for the arcs. Like everyone agrees that's called the Ahsoka's Walkabout arc. But with Andor, it's like you look it up. There's like everyone has like their own different name for the different arcs. It's annoying to me, but
it hasn't been out long enough.
But yeah, I like the Lasat lore we get here.
Yeah, agree.
It's fun to see that there's other views of the Force beyond like the Jedi and the Sith. Like it exists in some other cultures too.
Yeah, but the Jedi don't want that. If we're gonna get dirty, like that's like the Acolyte. Like when the Jedi came in and were like, y'all can't be using Force shit. Only the Jedi can be using Force stuff. You know, like they try to like, I don't know, monopolize it.
Yeah.
But I do really like the Lasat stuff as well, like getting more culture on that and more on their, like, I guess, genocide. And we kind of, like, get that continuation of Agent Kallus and Zeb.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get the Lasat prophecy of the fool, the warrior, and the child.
Right.
And the fool is Hondo. Hondo's in this episode. He kind of starts his only role is to be the catalyst.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Saw Gerrera, like, we're the Ridos. It's like, okay, Hondo's just here to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a story of the child saving the warrior. Zeb is Kalus's redemption.
Right.
But it's not obvious the first time you're watching the show. But yeah, this is a big episode in that arc, I guess. Pivotal. And that scene when Zeb is navigating the ship through the star cluster, the gravity wells and everything, and then, like, the music is so big and emotional. It's like violins or something. It's like very like atypical for Star Wars, and he's using his magic staff with the Force, and it ties into the ship's hyperdrive. And, like, it does, like, I don't know, it is like, it's pretty weird for Star Wars, but to me, like, that's like an acceptable, like, Dave Filoni Star Wars weirdness. I thought it was handled well. This also sets up that there's a Lasat, I don't know, what would you call it? Like
refugee. It's like an original planet, though.
But it's like, yeah, but like there is like a safe place for the Lasats to flee to.
Like, I would say refugee planet then.
Yeah.
But it's not really, because it's then actually going home. Like, to where their original ancestors came from. I think that was a really good relief, too, though, that we got to, like, this big reveal that there's, like, a bunch of Lasat people on their Asan already.
He thought he might have been the last one. Like, all his other kind were dead, so, good for him. We can move on to, what episode is next? Okay, The Call. So, the Purrgil episode. You got some space wells. What happens in The Call?
The Ghost crew is on a mission to capture a fuel shipment from the mining guild to the Empire in order to restock the Rebels' fleet's own dwindling supplies. While traveling to the guild's asteroid refinery, the Ghost encounters a flock of Purrgil, space-traveling creatures whom Hera considers dangerous. However, Ezra establishes contact with them through the Force and learns that his crew and the Purrgil actually pursue the same basic goal, if for slightly different priorities. Upon reaching the Mining Guild base, the crew finds the Mining Guild attempting to exterminate the Purrgil. Kanan plans to raid the base and steal the shipment while igniting the rest of the fuel to create a diversion. However, Ezra stops him when he realizes that the Purrgil also need the fuel. When it appears as if the Mining Guild forces will overwhelm the crew, the Purrgil arrive and attack the Mining Guild, giving the crew the time they need to escape with the fuel. As the Ghost flies away, the crew witnesses the Purrgil going into hyperspace, confirming rumors that they are migratory species capable of faster-than-light travel without technology.
So...
Space whales!
This, I guess, is the first time, at least in canon, where they establish the relevance of the Purrgil. I remember when this episode came out, watching this and thinking, like, you know, that kind of feels a bit more like Star Trek than Star Wars. They have, like, these space... You know, kind of made me think of, like Tin Man and Star Trek The Next Generation, which is an episode we should cover soon on TEX-TREK. Yeah, Joel in the live audience calls the Star Wars episode the one with the wells, like how people refer to Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Right.
Another Leonard Nimoy directed movie. We talked about 3 Men and a Baby on our last stream we did. But the Mining Guild was kind of cool to see if you're like a big Star Wars lore person. The Mining Guild were mentioned by Lando in The Empire Strikes Back, and just kind of like a throwaway line. And so they've become something that, like, the fandom is kind of like latched onto. The books and stuff like mention and expand on from time to time. But it is interesting to know that the Mining Guild is their function in the galaxy, I guess, like mining. They haven't been like absorbed into the Empire, like how everything else kind of gets like nationalized and brought under the control of the Imperial government. So the Mining Guild, I like that there's like a bunch of Rhodians and their boss, I guess, who could also breathe that gas. Right. They just like hang out on like that asteroid and like work in the gas, and then when the Ghost crew show up, they all have to have like helmets and breathers, and I don't know, I kind of like that. I kind of like how like we just put on the Stormtrooper helmet and then run around on this asteroid. It looks very Star Wars. Like nothing else is gonna look like that. It's got that weird fusion of like cutting edge modern animation that takes itself pretty seriously, but also do this absurd, outlandish kind of Buck Rogers-y type sci-fi. Where you have like a guy with a laser sword standing on top of a spaceship as it flies up off of an asteroid. But I don't know. What do you think of the call?
I loved Ezra showing us even more of his nature force sensitivities with the Purrgil. Like, especially whenever everyone
creatures.
else in the Ghost is like, these creatures kind of suck. Like, they tear ships apart and they, like, cause shipwrecks, literally. And, like, this is kind of like Hera's Moby Dick, you know? Like, she kind of, like, hates the whales.
That was interesting. Like, she talks about how, like, people around here talk about, like, I hate fucking deer.
Yeah.
I can't stand when they get in the road and cause accidents, and I totaled my car because I hit a deer.
Yeah.
That's like, that's how Hera talks about Purrgil.
Yeah, so
But Ezra's like, they're living beings.
Yeah.
They're just doing what they do.
Yeah, it's good, and I like him connecting with them multiple times, like, throughout the episode, and, like, he kind of, like, gets a little bit more information each time, which is cool. Because sometimes I think, like, oh, he's, like, connecting with them, and you kind of think it's kind of more like a mind meld, where it's like, oh, I'm getting everything I need all at once. But it kind of seems like in this episode, it's more short bursts of information and not necessarily, like, all-knowing when he connects with creatures. So it's cool to get more insight, like, on what his limitations are with, like, force animal sensitivity.
Yeah, you have like a TV show, you can spend more time on some of those concepts. Like, spend like a whole animal about, like, Purrgil, you know, like a Star Wars movie could never make them this relevant to the plot, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe, but it'd be a weird movie.
The other thing I thought was neat about this episode was them being out of fuel, and they're, like, on fumes and stuff, and they're freezing in the Ghost.
Yeah.
No one has a jacket or a blanket, which cracks me up. And, but I like that caused, like, a barrier to part of their mission.
Well, is that from, they had to go out of their way to take those two Lasat refugees along their journey, so
super far away.
I was thinking when we were watching that, like, man, like, who's paying for the gas to get these people here? So, yeah, it kind of makes sense that, like, the tank is on E in the next episode.
Yeah, but I liked that Hera was literally like, I literally can just coast down to that platform and have to refuel down there. Like, there's one shot.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that it's literally they're on fumes.
It's like rolling into a gas station, like, right as your engine dies from running out of gas.
Yeah. That's never happened to me, but I can imagine. But yeah, I guess that's all I have on the call.
I'll just point out that the Mining Guild TIE fighters.
Oh, yeah, they're modified TIEs.
Yeah.
And they're yellow, like Sabine's.
And the wings have, like, this little section cut out so that you can see to your left and right. But the Rhodians piloting the TIE fighters they don't seem like very good pilots. They don't put up much of a fight in this episode.
They're doing their best.
But, yeah, we like the Purrgil. They're cool. And we'll see more Purrgil stuff, especially in this show, but in some other stuff coming up. So, let's move on to Season 2, Episode 16, Homecoming.
In order to provide a safe shelter for their fighters, the rebels plan to capture an Imperial carrier currently stationed above Ryloth, Hera's home planet. In order to pull the mission off, the Ghost crew contacts Hera's father, the famed Twi'lek resistance fighter, Cham Syndulla. However, are we going to say Sham or Cham?
Cham. I say it Cham. Is it supposed to be Sham?
I don't know. I've heard it in, like, in Rebels, they say it both ways.
I'm going to call him Cham. If they wanted it to be Sham, they should have spelled it with an S instead of a C.
Okay, I agree. However, Cham desires to destroy the carrier as a demonstration of power and only grudgingly agrees to capture it. Hera later tells Ezra that she and her father are not on the best of terms, as Hera believes Cham is obsessed with the Twi'lek resistance, while Cham believes Hera's faith in the rebellion is misguided. Piloting a captured TIE bomber, Hera successfully infiltrates the crew and Cham's team into the carrier, but Cham's team betrays them and moves to destroy the carrier. Ezra uses a Jedi mind trick on the captain to have the crew abandon ship, while Zeb and Sabine subdue Cham's men. Hera convinces Cham to help her, and they destroy a pursuing Imperial cruiser, achieving the demonstration Cham wanted. After adding the carrier to the rebel fleet, Hera and Cham reconcile before parting ways.
This is the first time Ezra successfully mind tricks.
Yeah.
They kind of make a big deal out of that. It just occurred to me as you were reading this summary that they handle Ahsoka the same way as a young Jedi.
Oh yeah.
They tease her doing it a couple times, and then she does it and it doesn't work, and then she finally does pull it off.
Yeah.
So,
trial and error.
But I like that's probably like a Jedi skill that it's not just something that like anyone can pick up and learn.
Yeah.
Because otherwise life would be pretty easy, you know.
Yeah.
Just force trick your way out of any situation. It was really cool to see Cham Syndulla again and get to finally have like Hera and him interact. We saw a little bit of this father-daughter in the Bad Batch when Hera was much younger.
Yep.
And her uncle Gobi, who taught her how to pilot, is still around. You pointed out to like, oh yeah, like Gobi is like hanging out with Hera while everyone else is visiting with Cham and hearing the war stories. Because it's like, yeah, like they're tight, you know, like he.
Yeah.
That was like her favorite uncle, you know.
Yeah, and they're hanging out in the cockpit together too, which is kind of fun. Like they're hanging out in the ghost cockpit together. And he's just, like, sitting behind her, and they're just, like, reminiscing.
Oh, Kanan being so nervous about meeting Hera's dad.
Oh, yeah, that was
But also, cute. Like, I mean, like, Kanan, like, he was a kid. He was a child soldier. But Kanan served in the Clone Wars. Like, you know, he heard people talk about Anakin Skywalker. He heard people talk about these people. He knew who Finn Rao was.
Right.
Cham Syndulla was a big fucking deal in the Clone Wars. So, like, everyone had heard about him. And he's also like, oh yeah, like I'm kind of in a secret relationship with his daughter that we don't really like advertise, but it's totally going on. So, you know, it's very important to him to make a good first impression.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah.
I liked that addition. And it's good to see Kanan, like, embarrassed and awkward and stuff. Like when he introduces everyone and he gets all their names wrong, and Ezra is just like in the background shaking his head.
But Cham Syndulla also like didn't give a shit.
No, he does not care.
Because so many people have been like introduced to him. He's like been like this famous political leader and stuff. You know, he's just gonna like smile and greet everyone, and he like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
In one ear and out the other. Numa, the little Twi'lek girl who befriended two of Obi-Wan's clones, Waxer and Boyle. We see her here, and I pointed out how back in the Umbara arc of Clone Wars, you see the two of them, and they have a little cartoon Numa on their clone trooper helmets, right?
Yeah.
And then here she has the white and yellow. It's like the colors of Commander Cody guys. They have like the
it's like an orangey yellow.
Yeah, like an orangey gold kind of. But yeah, she has like that clone armor on her arm. So cool to see Numa again. And I also like Hera's code switching when she's getting like this passionate argument with her dad, and she starts talking in the Ryloth accent again.
Yeah.
That was another nice touch.
For sure.
But yeah, Cham wanted to bring down the Imperial ship, and they're like, no, we want to capture it and use its resources. And the compromise they forgot in the end is like, okay, well, we can just capture the ship and bring down this other one. Everybody wins. Except for the Empire, which is what we want. So good, yeah. But now going forward, Phoenix Squad they have like this stolen aircraft carrier that they can launch their fighters from.
Right.
So it's kind of a cool ship. It's
like a mobile base.
It's kind of like a big, flat pizza slice looking design. I guess it's not that inspiring, but it's cool how it can launch ships. It doesn't have like most Star Destroyers. You have to go like up and down out of the bottom, or like in the Republic and the Clone Wars area, you had to go up and down out of the top to launch. But it's cool, like the entire like back side of the triangle ship. It's just all hangar deck for fighters to launch out of. And we see this thing again in season 3, and it's like painted up, right? Like, don't they paint like a phoenix on it or something?
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it again when we get to season 3. But let's move on to Season 2, Episode 17, The Honorable Ones. What happens, Taylor?
The Ghost crew receives a tip about Imperial activity around the planet Geonosis and go to investigate, only to find that the planet is completely devoid of life, and evidence of a large weapon having been constructed in orbit. When the crew boards one of the abandoned construction modules, they are ambushed by Agent Callus. Most of the crew is able to escape back to the ship, but Zeb is forced to take an escape pod. Kallus pursues Zeb into the pod, which gets damaged during their struggle, and the pair crash land onto the icy moon of Geonosis. Kallus's leg is injured in the crash, and he and Zeb are forced to work together to survive by fending off hostile monsters and climbing out of the cave they are trapped in. During this, Kallus admits to Zeb that he respects Lasats as warriors, but dislikes them due to his first squad being wiped out by a Lasat. He also reveals he did not agree with the Empire's decision to exterminate the Lasats, and that the bow rifle he claimed to have stolen from a dead Lasat honor guard was actually given to him by the guard after defeating him in an honorable duel. Upon reaching the surface, they activate their emergency transponder. The Ghost arrives to rescue Zeb shortly after. Kallus wishes to take his chances and wait for Imperial rescue rather than be a rebel prisoner, and both he and Zeb part ways with a newfound respect for each other. Returning to his Star Destroyer, Kallus is greeted rather coldly, even by Imperial standards, and the episode concludes with him sitting in his quarters deep in thought.
He says hi to Admiral Constantine,
Yeah.
and then Admiral Constantine is just like,
Agent
Kallus. I guess that hurt his feelings. He wanted someone to be like, oh my god, bro, are you okay?
Well, do you know how many times Agent Kallus has bitched at Constantine for stupid shit he's done? Like, he doesn't care. Like, they don't care about each other. Like,
It's like Partagas and Andor. Like, maybe there's some friction between the military and the intelligence agency, but this episode, I remember it really standing out the first time I saw it. I didn't know they were going to try to do a Kallus redemption, and then this episode is what makes that as like a possible option.
Right,
you know,
right.
like no one really thought about that until they watched this episode. But it's interesting to hear him describe, his history with the Lasats and like why is he like so kind of like racist, like brags about like killing Lasats to Zeb, but he's like, well, yeah, I guess I just have like PTSD from when you wiped out all of my friends, like all of your people, but yeah, it's like another like crime of the Empire, right? To pit these people against each other, not to like totally like absolve Kallus. Like I think you should be like a little bit more responsible when you're like serving under someone like Palpatine. It's like people that are ordered to commit war crimes now. It's like you need to be held accountable. But the bigger picture, the bigger problem is like, like the people orchestrating these conflicts, and in a way, like someone like Kallus, not to say that they're totally innocent, but they're a victim too.
Yeah.
He grew up a fan of the Clone Wars, probably. It was like, like the Separatists tried to destroy the society of the galaxy, and so we had to fight back, and now I'm going to be like this cool servant of the Empire and go make like the galaxy a safe place. Like, I got to go like wipe out these Lasat on this planet. I guess it's a dirty job sometime, and then he gets all of his friends and coworkers, or I guess like more than like not coworkers, like people who like serve in the military, and they talk about how like you have to like trust each other with your life, so you're like super tight. So then you get like the trauma that Kallus experienced after losing all those people. So this is interesting. I think it's more impressive when stories tackle this kind of redemption than when you do like the convenient thing, like I love the Darth Vader climax in Return of the Jedi. I consider that like the kind of the be all end all of the whole saga. That's like the climax of Star Wars to me, is when Vader literally overthrows the Emperor to save his son. But it's very convenient that he dies right after that, and then you don't have to deal with like the trial of Darth Vader. What to do. I kind of feel like there's a lot of stuff I don't like in the last Skywalker movie, the Rise of Skywalker. But I kind of feel like if they were going to continue after that, it would be more interesting if it was Ben Solo instead of Rey. Like what does he do? Like what do you do with like the Sith Lord who turns good?
Right.
How do you go forward from that? Like, do you just put them in like life in prison? But then like, what if something happens where you need like a strong Force user? Do you bring them out for that, or like, do you just send him off to do community service? Does he just go wander the galaxy like looking for a place to do good? Like, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting story to tell. But so yeah, here I guess the initiation of Callus's redemption, it goes into some interesting places later on. So. But yeah, I think it's a little bit more impressive when you can redeem a character without conveniently killing them.
Yeah, this is, I would say, like, obviously, like, one of the best examples is Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The absolute best example ever.
It's so good, because it's a slow burn. Like, you have to deserve it. And they have to go through it. Like, they have to go through, like, the emotional turmoil of, like, I did these bad things. And, like, you have to show your audience that they're working through that. You can't just, like, say, like, oh, that happened off screen. Like, that's lazy writing. You know, if you want to have a good redemption. And I think it's good, like, in this episode.
Yeah, you have to sell it. You have to make people believe it. Like, they have to believe it in their heart.
Yeah, and I think they land that with Callus here when he returns back to his room and it's sterile and he doesn't have any of these emotional connections. You know, like he's realizing.
This is like the Andor speech. This is like he's gonna go home to who he was always meant to be.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing I wanted to bring up in this episode that drove me bonkers the whole time, or not bonkers, but like, Callus like broke his leg in this.
It cracks me up.
And
hey,
you can hear it.
It makes it easier for me to think about like him redeeming himself.
Oh,
like he goes through some shit. Yeah.
But dude, Zeb throws him around by his broken leg.
Has him like hanging by his broken leg.
I was just like wanting to throw up and pass out. Like just watching that.
How long is he gonna have to chill in a Bacta tank for that to stop hurting?
Yeah, damn. I mean, just that alone, I'm like, I feel like he's wiped a big slate off. Like, damn, that was torture.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a rebel prisoner either. If that's how
definitely not Zeb's.
Like, yeah, send me back to the Empire. I want to point out that they're on like the ice moon of Geonosis. But it's really cool that they notice like, whoa, something massive was under construction here. Whatever it is, the Empire has moved it. But the Geonosans just built something incredibly large, and then they all vanished. Mm-hmm. Which we will eventually see was the Death Star, and then after they got that shit built, they wiped out all the crickets. They just like sprayed raid over the whole planet and killed all of the bug people of Geonosis. Eventually they do come back, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
It's just that cool foreshadowing of the Death Star. And like, this is fun to watch it in chronological order because we also saw like in Andor, you know, there's a lot of Death Star stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we need to get like that. We got the Death Star built. The crickets are done building it. We got to get like the shit out of Ghorman now.
That even came up. We didn't bring it up with the
Kyber?
No.
Oh.
That governor's name. He was
Ryder.
a prisoner, and he worked on building the boots.
He was a Cassian situation.
Yeah, where he was in the prison building these like the gravity boots that they used on those rebel ships that they were trying to take. And he's the only one that knows how to take them apart. Like, that's the reason that he decides to join them. He's like, well, I can get those boots off for you, you know? But, yeah, that's another thing that's kind of, it's nice watching in chronological order, because we saw that in Andor, and now we're literally seeing, we're not seeing the prison, but we can literally imagine exactly what his life was like. Because we've watched Andor's prison sequence, you know?
Yeah, so like when he says like I'm not going back to prison, it's like, I'm glad you brought that up because like that's another like big theme in the show is like overcoming your fears. Like Ryder was scared of going back to prison, but he ended up overcoming it and helping the rebels anyways. Helped Princess Leia. That's cool. Like Clancy Brown, I got to like be like, I get to go help Princess Leia.
Yeah,
because he was a big Star Wars fan. That's why they brought him into Clone Wars. They found out he was like. He told someone that he'd been like watching Clone Wars, you know, so they're like, oh yeah, we'll make you Darth Maul's brother, and so good for him. But yeah, it's a season about like not just like overcoming your fear, but knowing that's kind of like a never-ending battle. It's something you have to kind of like deal with every day.
Yeah.
But Kanan and his fear of the clones, he was terrified of Rex. We talked about that yesterday. And then Ahsoka's big fear that we're going to talk more about in this next episode, actually. Shroud of Darkness, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so what was the fear in the honorable ones? Why did I start talking about this?
We were talking about the fear of the governor guy.
Oh yeah.
But I guess in this one it would be.
Zeb. I guess he maybe overcomes a little bit of his fear of Imperials. I don't know. He still seems pretty suspicious of Callus by the end of it. But Callus, he begins to overcome his fear of Lasat. Like he's basically like, he like went to war with these people, and now he has like PTSD, and it's manifested in like this racism, and now he's being like, oh, that's wrong. I'm going to overcome that.
Yeah.
So something like I had like something like, unfortunately, is like kind of a common story. Like you hear like American service people from wars who are like, oh yeah, I was like in a Japanese POW camp, and not like that person seems to be like really racist towards Asian people. It's like no, you gotta like overcome that. You gotta be like Callus and do better.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Shroud of Darkness, Season 2, Episode 18.
Ezra and Kanan, after facing off with the Inquisitors again, decide it is not safe for them to be around the rebels while they are being targeted by the Empire, and decide to get advice from Ahsoka. On her advice, the three set out for the Jedi Temple on Lothal, where each have a separate vision. Ezra of Master Yoda, Kanan of the Temple Guard who is testing him, and Ahsoka of Anakin Vader.
Anakin/Vader.
Yeah, sorry. As the Inquisitors track the group to the temple and force their way inside, Ezra is told by Yoda to find Malachor. Kanan is warned by the guard, who reveals himself as the former Grand Inquisitor, to beware Ezra's turning towards the dark side, dubbing Kanan the official rank of Jedi Knight, a rank he was never able to achieve due to the execution of Order 66 and the extermination of the Jedi Order. During her vision, Ahsoka faces her guilt over not being present during the fall of the Jedi, while also accepting the fact that her former master, Anakin Skywalker, has become the Sith Lord Darth Vader. The three escape as the shades of the Temple Guards hold off the Inquisitors. Vader and the Empire's forces arrive at the temple as Ahsoka informs Ezra that Malachor is actually a place.
So yeah, we get the mission to Malachor, which sets up our season finale. We'll talk about in a moment. But this is a pretty big episode, a big Ahsoka episode. It's a big, I guess, this is Kanan becoming a Jedi Knight. The idea behind the scenes, according to the people who made this show, was that the Yoda was communicating to Kanan in this episode that you're now worthy of knighthood. You can be a Jedi Knight now.
Yeah.
So, which I guess is kind of building on Yoda and the Yoda arc in Clone Wars, when he's learned like, oh yeah, like a lot of our the Jedi Order has lost our way in a lot of ways, and I think he's like, because Kanan never finished the normal training, he didn't learn all the extra bullshit that actually like becoming. It's kind of like it's like now like the Jedi have been like broken down. Yoda's like, we can like build ourselves back up as like something more pure, and we can get rid of all of the bad shit that didn't work, that got us in trouble. I guess is the idea.
They're like shedding the crap.
Yeah. So it's also cool that Ahsoka is facing her big fear that I talked about. She is terrified that Vader is Anakin, which I think deep down she knows, but she's still in denial. She denies it right up until she comes face to face, right until it becomes undeniable. But of course, like, she blames herself. She was like, oh man, if only I hadn't left the Order. That's what, like, everything went downhill for him after that. And then his wife died, and then the Emperor took over, and yeah, it's all my fault. So I feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also it's like we were talking about last week. It's like you're learning that like, oh yeah, your best friend is also like the worst person in the galaxy.
Right.
Yeah, no one wanted to find out it was their big brother under that Darth Vader helmet. So this is also the reveal that the Grand Inquisitor was once the
Temple Guard.
the Temple Guard. So who was one of the guards when Ahsoka was on trial. I think Dave Filoni or someone said that the guy who there at one point one of them holds the yellow lightsaber up to Ahsoka's neck or something,
Okay.
or does some kind of violent gesture towards her, and someone said like, oh yeah, that's the Grand Inquisitor.
Gotcha.
But the vision that Ezra has, he sees a very well voiced Yoda. Frank Oz got in the booth to voice him, but this is the worst looking Yoda.
Horrible.
Like,
I can't believe this design passed. Like, I can't believe that it was drawn up and people approved this to go out.
The people who grew up on Clone Wars who really love it and they like to shit talk Rebels, like I can understand like when they talk about how like the animation's not as good, they can be like, well, I mean like, have you seen the Yoda in Rebels?
Yeah.
Like,
this is the only animation complaint I've had so far, for sure. But it's a bad Yoda, man. I do like that they have like part of his environment, like you can see like a Dagobah branch that he's sitting on or whatever. That's much better than Yoda's face.
But yeah, it was very very ugly Yoda. But Malachor, the Sith planet they're going to go to, and it kind of made me think when Yoda tells Ezra that he has to go to Malachor, it made me think of Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi telling Luke in The Empire Strikes Back he has to go to Dagobah. And I guess that's everything I have on Shroud of Darkness. I guess kind of neat to see Vader in the temple at the very end, like the Lothal temple.
Yeah.
And how he's kind of like a couple steps behind Kanan and Ezra, and eventually he catches up. So, sorry, I'm bumping my microphone. Let's move on to The Forgotten Droid, Season 2, Episode 19.
While on a mission to steal fuel, Chopper steals a replacement strut for his original leg. Chopper is separated from the Ghost crew and finds himself stranded on an Imperial freighter. He is eventually discovered by the ship's inventory droid, AP-5, who does not report him upon finding out that Chopper is a veteran of the Clone Wars just like him. AP-5 complains to Chopper that the Empire does not appreciate his previous role as a strategist, and the freighter crew constantly mistreats him. Chopper removes AP-5's restraining bolt, and the two work together to trap the crew in the cargo hold and detach it from the ship. Chopper makes contact with the Ghost, and AP-5 warns them that the Empire knows their destination and has set up a trap. AP-5 is shot by the freighter captain as he transmits new coordinates, but the Ghost crew repairs him by using parts from the leg Chopper stole. Go ahead.
I love this episode.
I do too. I was just going to say the same thing.
And I know people who don't like Rebels as much of us, people who don't like Rebels as much as us, say that it has too many filler episodes. And I don't know if people call this one a filler episode. I feel like a lot of people probably do.
Yeah, I would say it is.
But I don't know. I love AP-5. I think he adds a lot to the show. I love Chopper going on his own little solo mission.
Yeah, it's like an aside. And it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air from all this Jedi and Sith stuff that we're going through. But, yeah, I like AP-5 too. I like that he's kind of like an Eeyore character.
I love how many scenes are just Chopper and AP-5. Like
this bickering.
The stuff that George Lucas thought was going to be real fun and cute on the Clone Wars that we think is some of the weakest episodes, but like the stuff he was trying to do, like let's just do these entire scenes of just like 3PO and R2 and just like these whole like droid stories. That I don't know if any of those worked in Clone Wars, but this is what they were trying to do back then.
Yeah, it works so well in this episode.
And how they can, like, bond over, like, the Clone Wars. And, like, we learn more about Chopper's backstory, like, how he got on Ryloth and found Hera. We also learned that AP-5 was a strategist for the Republic. So he was like the Republic equivalent of one of those separatist tactical droids.
Right.
But yeah, obviously the rebellion could use a strategist, and he's talking about how like he's undervalued by the Empire. So, just in like the opening of the episode when Chopper gets so excited when he sees that leg, and they're like, "We're not here to shop for a leg," and then like Zeb making like the dad joke about Chopper, and he keeps saying it because no one's gonna laugh at it.
Yeah.
But and then like Hera kind of scolding Chopper, and then like as soon as they're all gone, just like when he just takes off with his little rocket thruster, and then you get like the Star Wars Rebels title card. It's such a fun opening. It's like, okay, we're in for some Chopper shenanigans. Like, let's set the tone for it right now.
I love Chopper so much. He has so many kerfuffles with people because it's kind of like R2. Like they're both shit talkers, and I love like the interactions between all these random characters.
Chopper is kind of like Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. If like Rocket Raccoon was like trapped, if he was like trapped in like R2-D2 and like couldn't like all you could do is just like beep or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that's how he would behave. Like who was also trying to get like Bucky's arm.
Right.
This is like Chopper trying to get that strut. Yeah. But. I don't know. There's some fun, colorful characters. Was he a Ugnaught or whatever? Like the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
Who's like trolling him with like the leg. He's like, oh yeah, it would actually match, but you can't afford it. Or like however he talked. That guy kind of cracked me up. The Imperial dude that AP5 worked for, the fat asshole. I don't know. Sometimes I say like I don't like it when Rebels makes the Imperials too. Not threatening because they're so buffoonish and cartoony, but this one didn't bother me. That Imperial cargo ship. I pointed it out when we were watching Bad Batch, but we saw this design then. Like when they were raiding Count Dooku's castle on Serrano, or Serrano, or whatever it is. It's like Serrano, like the pepper.
Yeah.
That's weird. But yeah, we see like that ship here also like hauling a lot of crates and stuff. So I'm just really into the ships of Rebels Season 2. I didn't realize it was such like a big ship porn section of Star Wars for me. But another part of why I say this is like the peak Star Wars that we're watching. That's all we have for the Forgotten Droid.
My only complaint about this is that they were originally on this planet to get fuel, and I feel like they just did that with the Purgle episode where they ran out of fuel.
Well, they probably didn't fill up the tank all the way then. They probably just
did. They've ensured
I guess they did.
All the way on full.
Well, they probably had to like share some with somebody.
Well, I know that, but I just feel like it could have been really easy to just be anything else. Like it's weird that they would even include.
It's like we were talking about TNG Season 3, how there's 2 episodes back to back of like the remnants of a dead warrior race that wiped themselves out in war. Yeah, it's kind of weird that it happens in 2 episodes back to back. I guess these weren't quite back to back, but they damn near were. That's a valid point. That can be annoying, especially these days when stories are broken kind of at the same time at the beginning of the season. Let's move on to the episode that sets up the 2-part finale. Right before we get to the 2-part finale. Before we can talk about Twilight of the Apprentice, we must talk about Season 2, Episode 20, The Mystery of Chopper Base.
After finally finding a planet that is safe from the Empire, the Rebel fleet lands to set up their base. However, one of their scouts goes missing after setting up a sensor beacon. Sabine and Rex go to investigate when they are attacked by a swarm of Krykna spiders. Sabine is rescued by the Ghost crew, but Rex is captured by the spiders. The crew follows them and rescues Rex, but cannot escape upon finding that the spiders have trapped the Ghost with a web. Sabine discovers that the spiders cannot go near the sensor beacons they had set up, and uses one to ward them away while the rest of the crew cuts the web and escapes. Back at the base, instead of abandoning the planet, the rebels use the sensor beacons as a makeshift barrier to keep the spiders away. Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka decide to head for Malachor to find a way to deal with the Inquisitors.
So this is cool because it establishes how hard it is for the rebels to find a home base.
Yeah. is like the 5th attempt this season.
And eventually they're going to get Yavin set up, but then they eventually will lose Yavin, and then they go off to Hoth, and it's just like a never-ending problem. You're always going to have the Empire pursuing you. And we saw it in that Jural, whatever planet. It's like, you can't just go, park your ships in the spaceports on a populated planet.
Right.
Because then you get that planet in trouble. They're having to find, these scarce planets like this one. I forgot that they call it Chopper Base, but I guess the base is named after Chopper. That's kind of weird, but I guess it is. The spiders that are crawling around here, they're like a dark side creature, right? Don't we discover that in season 3? They're there to kind of represent the dark side with the Bindu or something. They have some connection to the Bindu.
Sure.
But they're based on an old Ralph McQuarrie design, and we see this. It might be a different type of creature, but it looks very similar in the ice planet in The Mandalorian season 1. Like one of the first episodes, they crash in the ice.
Yeah, it's like these ice spiders, but also like the Lasat ice cave episode is basically the Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, you combine these 2 episodes of Rebels and you make a Mandalorian episode.
Yeah.
Well, Dave Filoni for you. But the Jedi are preparing to leave because they have to go deal with the Inquisitors. They know, very much if the Rebels are on a populated planet, then they're going to draw the Empire to that planet's population. It's the same thing with Ezra and Kanan. They're like, we're going to bring the Inquisitors here to our other Rebel friends.
Right.
So, there's a good line from Ahsoka I like to Ezra when she says, once you think you understand the Force, you learn how little you know.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of true about everything. I mean, wasn't it was it Plato who said that, or Socrates or whoever? But the more you know, you realize how little you know. But I think with I think that's also kind of what Yoda learned in the that Yoda arc of Clone Wars.
Sure.
I kind of want to rewatch that now after rewatching all this other stuff that I keep kind of thinking I don't know. I think this kind of circles back to that. I don't. Maybe one day, not anytime soon, but maybe one day I'll do this again and see what's revealed after doing it for a second time. But I don't know. What do you think of the mystery of Chopper Base?
I think it's a decent episode. I think this would count as a filler episode to me too.
Well, it's a big setup for the finale.
Yeah.
That poor A-Wing pilot bites the dust.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The spiders are scary. The snails are cute.
Agree.
This planet will get a lot more screen time in season 3, which we're gonna watch a lot of in the next couple of days. We'll be seeing more of it. Let's talk about our big finale, the final 2 episodes of what I consider the greatest season of the greatest Star Wars animated show, Twilight of the Apprentice. This is the episodes that whenever I'm rewatching Rebels, I look forward to this more than anything, I think.
Oh. Ahsoka, Ezra, Kanan, and Chopper arrive on Malachor, a Sith world long forbidden to the Jedi. In search of knowledge, discovering a cavern containing a Sith temple amid the site of an ancient battlefield between Sith and Jedi who used crossguard lightsabers. They soon are attacked by a new Inquisitor, the 8th brother, who is hunting a mysterious hermit calling himself Old Master. When Ezra encounters the hermit, he reveals himself to be Maul and offers to help Ezra get into the temple, aiding him in recovery of the Sith holocron. When the other Inquisitors arrive and alert Darth Vader of their presence, Ezra convinces the group to work together in spite of Kanan's fears that Maul is corrupting his student, allowing them to finally kill the 3 Inquisitors. However, Maul soon betrays the group and blinds Kanan with his lightsaber, revealing his true intentions of making Ezra his apprentice.
He's so desperate for an apprentice.
Always. Although sightless, Kanan dons the mask of a fallen Jedi temple guard and throws Maul from the top of the temple. Ahsoka finally faces Darth Vader, who has cornered Ezra and destroyed his lightsaber, and comes to terms with his identity as Anakin Skywalker as she engages him in a duel, while Kanan and Ezra remove the Sith holocron. Unable to abandon her old master, Ahsoka stays within the crumbling temple and stalls Vader, while Ezra, Kanan, and Chopper flee the planet and reunite with the Ghost crew. Maul flees Malachar in one of the Inquisitor's ships, while Vader, who survived the destruction of the temple, walks away as a convoy watches from above, and an unknown figure is briefly seen limping into the shadows. As the Ghost crew tries to cope with their losses, Ezra continues to meditate on the Sith holocron and finally succeeds in opening it. Ooh.
Yeah, it does end with the big holocron opening.
And it has the red flash over his eyes. It turns his blue eyes purple to red, then purple to blue. I don't know if you noticed that before.
No.
Yeah.
I noticed that the last thing Kanan saw before being blinded was a big red screen.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so Twilight of the Apprentice. It's funny to me that the Wikipedia summary wanted to point out the cross-guard lightsabers.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a big deal, though, because
Kylo's, yeah.
Right, and so that was revealed in the first trailer for The Force Awakens. And then before The Force Awakens came out in December of 2015, Star Wars Rebels Season 2 was being promoted, because it premiered in the fall. And there was a trailer for the season at some point that showed Ezra turning on that green lightsaber with the little crossguard. It was just funny. It's the first time we had seen a reaction to The Force Awakens and other Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Was a trailer for Season 2 of Rebels.
Yeah.
I guess it also was an important moment for whoever wrote this summary.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get another Inquisitor, the 8th brother. It does not last very long.
R.I.P.
Just want to point out he's a Torellian Django jumper, like the chick in Lightsaber Lost in Clone Wars. So that's why he's so jumpy. But yeah, Maul versus Inquisitors. Yeah,
I always love that.
Something that we might be seeing a bit more of these days.
It's
with
the
the new
double-sided
show.
lightsabers together. I think those are so cool.
It was a lot of... Well, and you also have Ahsoka's 2 white blades. Yeah. Ezra and Kanan both bring a blue blade.
Yeah.
And then between the Inquisitors and Maul, that's 8 red blades spinning around. So yeah, this is a lot of lightsaber action.
Yeah.
Which I don't, and it doesn't bother me. It's not a lot of times I talk about how I think lightsabers are cooler when they're a bit more rare, not when you have 1,000 Jedi running around swinging them around. But it doesn't really bother me here. They're also fighting in this really cool setting, Malachor, where it's the remains of there was a Jedi Sith war here. And the reveal that the Sith Temple is also a big planet-destroying battle station weapon, like the Death Star.
Yeah.
Palpatine is just following an old Sith playbook.
Yeah.
Building, I guess, Kyber crystal-powered planet destroyers. And Kanan going blind,
Oh, yeah.
And the loss of Ahsoka, that's a big one. When Ahsoka and Rex are saying bye to each other, and they quote their first conversation from the Clone Wars movie when they first met.
About experience.
Yeah, in my book, experience is the best experience. But then this time, Ahsoka can say, I'm definitely more experienced than you. Yeah, I've experienced some.
I like this because it's also a callback to them race you down to the planet. Them always kind of playing like that. So
they talk about their history, and
it's good that they have that moment because it makes it so much harder later when they come back without her and Rex notices that she's not there. Your heart just breaks for him. You know?
Yeah. So they come back without Ahsoka and with a blind Kanan, and with the Ezra who's now playing around with the Sith holocron.
Right.
Because Maul told him, you're going to have to tap into the dark side, bro. We got to open these doors. And then he's like, hey, I don't like the Sith either, but I gotta know their methods. I want to defeat them, but I need to know what's up with them.
I just had a whole Dare flashback, Be like, just a little bit of dark side won't
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah, that's basically what Maul's trying to do. Again, desperate to get an apprentice, he'll take anyone. I feel like he's been here on Malachor for a while, though. He looks like real skinny, like he hasn't been eating.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. We have, like, the Maul TV show now that picks up right after Maul escapes from Ahsoka in Season 7 of Clone Wars. And we know eventually he's bossing around Kira in Solo, a Star Wars story, and was running Crimson Dawn. So, like, the Maul TV show seems to be telling the story of, like, how Maul gets to be, like, this big crime lord who runs Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
What I'm really curious about is how does that Maul get to this Maul on Malachor? Like, that's the story I'm actually more curious to find out about.
Yeah.
Like
how he fell from
the final
syndicate.
fall of Maul, yeah.
And he's like, I guess I'll lean into this Sith holocron arc for me.
Well, he wants to bring down Palpatine and the Empire, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He wants revenge, so... and I guess he wanted to use this temple to do that, but also possibly recruit Ezra as an apprentice. But I like the mentality of, like, the Sith, you know, like the always two, a master and an apprentice. How, like, these doors, they have to be opened by two people.
Yeah. Or the lifts don't work unless
Yeah.
there's two people standing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, although in the ancient days, there were, like, a lot of Sith. It was before they established the rule of two. So I guess, like, Darth Bane came back through this temple and, like, added... these are all, like, the additions he added.
It could have been like, oh, there's always two together, like Master and Padawan. But, like, eventually that gets, like, re-changed to be, like, two only.
Master and apprentice. The Sith,
Oh,
the Sith
well,
don't say Padawan.
Sorry.
But they reveal Maul, like, as, you know, he's calling himself Old Master, and it's like they make it obvious who he is, but it's not like super obvious for a while. They kind of, like, they want you to just have time to figure it out,
Yeah.
and then, like, eventually, like, oh, okay, that is definitely Maul before they finally confirm it for sure. You know, like, he's holding, like, his lightsaber, like, in front of the camera, basically, at one point before he says his name is Maul. But I like that him and Ahsoka remember each other. He calls her Lady Tano.
Yeah. I like that Kanan, whenever he tells Ahsoka she's going to have to ride up with Maul, he's like, are you going to be okay with Grandpa?
Yeah.
Like, how, like,
but he's older, yeah. Like, I mean, like,
funny, though.
we see how old Obi-Wan Kenobi gets, you know, and, like, but yeah, like, you know, the Phantom Menace was a while ago, and these guys are, like, young and spry. It's like, yeah they've been putting on some years. Darth Vader showing up. It's like cool how, like, they build up to Vader, because, like, I guess, like, the Inquisitors they're just trying to, like, buy time until Vader can get there. But Darth Maul, there's, like, this one moment where you see Maul kind of, like, he pauses and looks up, like he can feel like Vader is near. And then when Vader shows up on his TIE fighter and how it, like, lowers down, is he lowering himself down or is he rising up? When he, like, reveals himself to Ezra, but he's, like, standing...
It's, like, rising up, yeah.
It's, like, one of, like, the coolest fucking Vader images ever, when he's, like, standing on the outside of his TIE fighter with his red lightsaber. And then when Ezra says, I'm not afraid of you, Vader has, like, one of the sickest Vader lines ever.
Then you will die braver than most.
Yeah, I love that. There's also a really great moment in those the Cal Kestis video game that, like, I hate to spoil this, even though, like, we say we can spoil anything on this show other than Skeleton Crew, so I'll go ahead and say it. But there's a moment in that game where you actually, like, come face to face with Vader, and it's scary as hell in the game. But there's, like, this cutscene where Vader says to the character you play as, Cal Kestis, Vader says, you would be wise to surrender. And then Cal Kestis says, like, yeah, probably. And I thought, like, oh, man, that's a pretty badass reaction to scary Vader. But, again, Ezra and Kanan not really, they don't really put up much of a fight for Vader. He is there to fight Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So, big showdown. "So the apprentice lives" at the beginning of season 2 was the setup for this payoff here, this moment. You know, it's funny how similar this is to the Obi-Wan Kenobi confrontation with Vader. It's very much like the same conversation. It's like I killed Anakin Skywalker. I destroyed him.
Yeah.
I'm what's left. And we talked about how, you know, Obi-Wan knocked off the left side of Vader's helmet, and here, like, Ahsoka gets the right side. And I kind of like the symbolism of that. And then, like, it took, like, his son Luke to get, like, the full mask off.
Yeah.
He couldn't have his mask off moment with either of them.
Yeah.
The apprentice got close and the master got close, but it was only, like, his family that could really get through to him in the end. But it's just like, this is also where it starts going super weird Filoni territory with the this Sith temple of Malachor is like the end of, like, normal Star Wars mysticism, in my opinion.
Okay, sure.
And the beginning of, like, now we're gonna do the world between worlds and time travel and portals and these weird star maps that will eventually lead to another galaxy in a different show. And but I'm gonna pay attention and try to roll with it and really try to understand their intent with this stuff. But I'm looking forward to more Rebels in the days to come. We're halfway through the show now, though, so
halfway through Andor and Rebels.
Yeah, we're like 75% of the way through, and we're halfway through Andor season 2. But we've
yeah.
We've watched 18 of 24 episodes. But as far as what's next for us, we're going to watch the next 16 episodes of Rebels, the first 16 of season 3. So I just want to point out that is going to put us in the year 2 BBY. We have already finished 3 BBY.
Wow.
Talking about how when you're not in the Clone Wars, the years go by a lot faster watching Star Wars in chronological order. But yeah, the 2 BBY will be the content for next time. Star Wars Rebels Season 3 Episode 1 through Season 3 Episode 16. But then it's going to be a lot of fun after that, Taylor. We're going to do Andor and Rebels bouncing back and forth. That's the Mon Mothma stuff.
Cool.
But Andor season 2 episodes 7 and 8, and then we'll do a Rebels episode, and then we'll watch Andor season 2 episode 9. I'm looking forward to that. And then eventually Rogue One, the original trilogy, and then some of the more Disney Plus shows. A lot of stuff for us to watch, but I'm having a lot of fun talking about it with you. That'll do it for now, but remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.